listen to the challenge, we'll make a strategy. If I can participate, I will. If not, then I can only do just enough to survive.
No tactic. Once we were in it, we were just winging it.
You're going to listen to me until I say to do something.
Come on, guys! Come on! Hold it, hold it, hold it!
The Photonis Ultimate Forces Challenge, an annual extreme endurance competition for athletes from across the globe. On the Indonesian island of Bali, 42 elite athletes push the limits of teamwork, tactics, and pure physical strength to prove who's the fittest of them all.
During the last challenge, our teams had to use brains and brawn in order to climb the slippery pole, but not before they had to drag those heavy sandbags through the forest.
For Team Australia, things couldn't have started any worse due to a physical setback.
Adam, muscle man, pulled his hammy, so he can't really lift sandbags and he can't run.
But the 60 chin-ups halfway through the course was a hurdle for all the teams. Tactics failed, flourished, and were even altered during the race.
We need to get past. We need to get past.
Okay, go, go, go!
But it was just a small hiccup compared to the last part of the challenge, climbing a 4-metre-high bamboo pole. Again, we saw different strategies and tactics. It was a crucial mistake of only millimetres that cost the Americans the top prize.
She missed the top.
South Africa continue their unbeaten streak, while the Americans move up to second place. Team Australia and Belgium are now tied for third, with Team Canada unfortunately bringing up the rear. Another peaceful day in paradise on the beautiful island of Bali. The 5 teams are eager to tackle their next challenge, even though the first signs of physical wear and tear are clearly visible.
While competing means participating. As a 6th member, I do what I can, otherwise the team suffer with 5. We'll listen to the challenge, we'll make a strategy. If I can participate, I will. If not, then I can only do just enough to survive.
With each day passing, the challenges are getting tougher, and the human resources and abilities are intensely tested.
Our next challenge requires explosive strength from all teams, but it also includes the fact you need to keep your nerve in order to complete this trek.
Today's first stage is a 4-kilometre cross-country run, which involves ferrying around heavy sandbags and a stretcher.
We had to run on the beach towards the gurney and the stretcher. And it's a Bali beach, there's boats everywhere, and everyone has their boats tied up to the shore. So you're hopping over the ropes, you're trying not to trip on them, meanwhile trying to dodge all the big rocks and dogs running around, and it was real life. It was pretty cool.
After that, they will have to run roughly a kilometre to collect some old friends.
And guess what? Sandbags again, my favourite. Pick up the sandbags, bring them back, and put them on the stretcher.
Then it's just a matter of going in the same direction one more time, but now with a load of approximately 125 kilograms on their shoulders. Easy does it, but there is of course a catch.
What's been different in all the other challenges up until this one is you're now going against a team.
Focus is everything.
A great challenge, great. Like, they're thinking up tricky stuff.
Because Australia finished the previous challenge last, they will have to go first, and by themselves. But this does not affect the Aussies' enthusiasm at all.
A mixture of brains, brawn, and just sheer guts. As Australians, we're known for never giving up and giving it our best shot.
But there is one thing Team Australia should be worried about, and that's Adam. He still hasn't recovered from his muscle injury, and rules state that the challenge has to be completed by all 6 members.
Adam's leg, hopefully in a couple of days, he'll be back to full speed. He can't overextend himself, otherwise he's going to really hurt himself. You know, he won't be able to compete anymore. So at the moment, we're not 100%, but we're still in the game.
Rules don't dictate that everybody needs to be involved in picking up the sandbags. And that creates a great opportunity for Adam to stay behind and rest, and also test the stretcher.
So I must finish with the team. As long as the sandbags get back and are placed on, and this goes back to the sandbags, no worries.
With the team complete again, Adam starts adding huge value to the team. So far, so good. Now it's just a kilometre to the turning point with the 125-kilo stretcher on their shoulders.
That was an incredible race. It was a lot of weight to carry, and we did push ourselves to the end.
At the halfway point, the sandbags can be dropped. From here, it's straight back to the finish, with the stretcher, of course. Just a few metres more, and Australia have set the first time. Adam did survive this challenge, but he is not the only one that's in serious pain.
Robin was going really hard. She wanted to spew on the run. Like, it was really tough, and she was giving it everything. She was gutted afterwards.
Too short.
Next up, the current leaders of the competition, South Africa and the USA.
We were against South Africa, so we had good motivation there, good push. We said, okay, we got this. Whereas if we ran by ourselves, we wouldn't have had the drive and the competitiveness to say, okay, keep going. We were like, we got to beat these guys.
Going head-to-head transforms this challenge into a real grudge match.
Make sure we're in front. Make sure we're in front of the USA.
Little Vicky was gone. We just could not keep up with him. He's like a little Energizer bunny. He was gone.
After watching Adam stay behind for Team Australia, both teams decide to adapt their tactics. Only the fastest runners run off into the jungle to retrieve the bags, while the rest of the team stay behind and prepare for the next stage.
The road's narrow. As long as we get back to the gurney with the sandbags before USA and we can get in front of them, there's not much space for them to pass.
We were right on their heels. Like, we did quite well there.
Both teams arrive with the sandbags almost at the same time, so it'll all come down to the last 2-kilometre stretcher race.
This is a must-win situation. There's a lot of pride, there's a lot of passion between both of these teams, so it looks like at the minute, yep, South Africa are just in front.
Team South Africa's strategy was clearly to get out in front, and with the road about to bottleneck, it'll be very difficult for Team USA to get past them.
When we dropped the sandbags off, we could have been jerks, boxed them in, took our sandbags off and not let them pass us, but we're too nice.
But this clearly cost them precious time. And on the other hand, the South African train seems to be running out of steam.
South Africa just heads out just a hair in front of us. If it was a little bit longer, we would have passed them.
But this grudge match goes to South Africa.
If they were in front of us, I don't think we would have been able to pass them. I don't know if we would have had the gas to pass them.
We realized that South Africa, they're human too. Terrence, the big guy, he's lying on his back on the stretcher and he had a hard time breathing there. He struggled. So we're like, all right, we got this. So at the beginning and before this, we were kind of intimidated, a little nervous and scared of them. And they're human too. And everyone has their breaking point, and we're just going to keep driving forward and keep pushing hard.
Carrying the weight.
Bit heavier than I thought it would be, eh? I thought a couple of pieces of bamboo can't be that tough.
The last two teams to face each other are Canada and Belgium.
The country we had to challenge was Canada. Big guys. We have one guy with the injury, so it's running with the injured ankle. I hope it will become good.
And they're off. Eva is an ace runner and immediately takes the lead. But the first part of the beach is not only about running, it's also about focus.
Then I fall. I was immediately pumped.
She fell down, but she was still faster than all of us. Falls down right at the start and still burns ahead. That girl can run.
Despite her fall, Eva manages to enter the main road in second place, right behind Paul of Team Canada.
Came to the stretcher, we started almost equal.
Belgium and Canada obviously paid attention to the previous race.
We saw one of the other teams going and how they were holding on to it. They either had it kind of going across their backs or they were holding on to it by their shoulders. And it was JJ on our team that said, well, if we rotate it, then we can rest it on our shoulders. It would be easier.
They jumped in front of us.
Rotated our stretcher so that we controlled the pace and they wouldn't be able to go around us.
The Canadians performed their newfound tactics to perfection.
They wouldn't have caught up to us anyways.
Halfway through the course, Team Belgium leapfrogged Canada. But unfortunately for Belgium, it doesn't last long.
I'm sure they were a little upset by our strategy, but that's what competition's about. Work smarter, not harder.
The phrase, nice guys finish last, the Belgians are learning it the hard way.
It's all about tactics, and now we are thinking also in the team, we have to be a little bit more rough, I think. So now we were gonna do it a little bit rougher.
Even though they competed head-to-head, it's the clock that determines the winner of this challenge. So will it be the lone wolf of Australia, the fiercely competitive South Africans, or the resurgent team, Canada?
At number 3, Canada.
That's my favorite event. We had a lot of fun with it.
Second place goes to...
USA.
Get in!
And again, the team to beat, South Africa.
We're really here to win every single event.
The same two teams occupy the first and second position, with South Africa continuing its undefeated run. But USA are impressively closing the gap. Team Canada put in its best performance of the week, followed by Team Belgium. But for the second challenge in a row, Australia finished last.
We are so close to each other. We can be jumping 2-3 places in the front if we want.
They're definitely not unbeatable. Every team has their weaknesses. Hopefully we'll find out before the finals.
Proud of you.
Get out of 5th? Hell yeah. Yeah. Day 2, we got to 2nd place. We'll get back there again.
But this day is far from over, and everything can change in a heartbeat.
In the evening when we are sitting and eating, we are all, what is coming next? You can do so much things here.
It seems like the challenges are getting more and more difficult.
No challenge will ever be the same, and there's always room for learning. No level can match that.
The teams are given some time to rest, but not that much, because tonight they will be put to their tests in the pitch black.
The Photonist Ultimate Forces Challenge tests top-flight athletes with military-style training. This means competing in virtually every condition imaginable and under extraordinary, difficult circumstances. Including using, of course, state-of-the-art technology. The next challenge takes our athletes deep into a jagged canyon running through the island. Here, each team will have to transport 3 large bamboo poles along the rocky riverbed.
When we started the game, we had some bamboo sticks with us and we had to go through the river. Then we went to an open place in the water.
Once there, they must find a few essential tools.
Some ropes and a knife, and that's the things we needed because we had to make a bridge.
The bridge sturdy enough for one team member to cross.
It's 2 rocks and we had to cross them.
And they have to do this in the black of night. To guide each team into the canyon, 2 members will be given military-grade night vision goggles.
This technology allows you to see at night like in the daylight.
Night vision goggles will be a huge advantage. Obviously your eyes adjust to the darkness to a degree. These goggles will provide the exact detail we need to be able to help each other through whatever obstacles and games they've got set up for us tonight.
The night vision system is providing a very small halo. There are many contaminant light on the battlefield. You cannot see what is happening behind the light. You must make a decision like that. With the new tubes, this halo is reduced to the minimum allowing you to see what is happening behind the lights.
I found a knife, fellas.
The first team to enter the heart of the darkness is Team Belgium.
It was a whole new world. We saw everything. Even the leaves I could see.
With the clock ticking, the Belgians wade half a kilometre down the river, pushing their bamboo poles alongside them. The Belgians locate the rope and knife surprisingly fast, then proceed downriver to a narrow ridge where they can construct their rudimentary bridge. Those without goggles rely completely on their two team members with night vision to guide them through the dark.
Okay.
Teamwork is absolutely essential to lift the poles over the rocky riverbanks.
Push. Up, good. Up.
Completely blinded in the dark, Bianca turns to Sander to help her safely up the bank.
Are you ready? Okay, push. Up. One more, boy. Let's go up. Yes.
11 minutes into the race and the end is already in sight.
And we managed to get it up on the rocks, but it was quite tough.
Team Belgium has smartly taken the path of least resistance and are rewarded when Sander scampers across a very simple bridge.
I'm holding you. Okay, go. Go. Okay.
And after a very long day of competing, the Belgians return to base camp for a well-earned night's rest.
I think we did it good. We did a good job on this thing.
Next up, South Africa.
We're nervous, but after using those goggles, I'm not worried in the least. Not worried in the least.
1, go.
I put on the night vision goggles and everything became 100% clear. Depth perception was perfect. No problem with vision whatsoever. To me, of course, it was very comforting, but my other team members, I could just imagine how they felt not being able to see anything.
But not everything is plain sailing. With their speed and strength useless in the pitch black, the first cracks appear in Team South Africa's impressive dominance.
We don't talk much. That was the complaint from their side.
We are that. Come on, where you guys? Guys! Talk. What's in front of us? That one? What do I see?
Dina firmly takes the lead.
Nothing. You're gonna stand here. You're gonna listen to me. Okay. Until I say do something.
The clock, however, continues to tick.
You always go into an obstacle having a lot of tactics, and then once you are in the middle of it, tactics soon change. So we couldn't plan around this obstacle. There was no tactic. Once we were in it, we were just winging it.
They finally put their differences aside and see the light, but not before it costs them precious minutes.
One, go.
Team Australia are up next. Having lost the previous two challenges, they smell the chance to reverse their fortunes after watching Team South Africa falter.
It was very, very dark. Put on the night vision goggles and immediately could see everything. One of the things you'll always see in a Hollywood movie is when someone's wearing night vision goggles, the good guy will turn on the light, everyone will be blinded, and he's got time to shoot everybody before they can adjust. These particular goggles, though, they don't have that issue. You can actually look into light. You can still see what's going on around you.
Their enthusiasm is paying off. Team Australia easily scale the rocky bank and reach the crossover point, getting the most out of their night vision goggles.
You could actually pick points at different distances as opposed to just providing a more flat visual impression. And I think they're going to be a huge asset, and they will save lives, and they'll actually assist soldiers and police to actually identify who's the friend, who's the foe, and make really good decisions.
Hoping to save time, the Aussies make a critical decision. They ditch building the bridge altogether and crawl across a single bamboo pole. Military advisor Adam goes over the bridge to set a new time to beat. Unfortunately, however, Australia are penalised for only using one pole, a serious setback for an otherwise stellar display of great teamwork. Only the two rivals are left, Canada and the USA. Team Canada report to the start line with one goal, moving up those rankings.
Everyone in Team Canada is pretty relaxed, but as soon as that challenge starts, everyone clicks in. You get focused and really pumped up, preparing yourself for the unknown of the Ultimate Forces Challenge.
Completely in sync with each other, they quickly locate the rope and knife and follow their night vision goggles to the right location. A record time will definitely boost their standings.
Steadily moving up, you know, you have a 6th place, a 5th place, a 4th place, now a 3rd. It's hard to be disappointed when you keep getting better every event.
But the Canadians make the same mistake as the Australians, trying to outsmart the competition. But by using only one pole, they are also penalised. Instead of heading back to base camp, Team Canada stick around to check out how their rivals Team USA get on.
Beat our neighbour to the north is all that really mattered to us.
We want to beat them. We want to beat Canada.
The Americans introduce a completely new tactic. Instead of sending the entire crew down the river, the teammates wearing the night vision goggles are sent ahead to locate the rope and the knife. The other team members are left to feel their way round in the darkness of the river. Team USA, by the way, had an extra advantage. Stephanie is an expert when it comes to night vision goggles.
I myself work with night vision in my job back home, so that's an edge for us. I am a sheriff working with surveillance investigations.
The experience certainly pays off. Team USA easily find the rope and knife and quickly start building their bridge. Instead of working from one side like the other teams, Stephanie and Kyle cross the river to work from there. It's a smart tactic, and it saves them valuable seconds. They quickly put the bridge in place, and Kim crosses to the other side. And with this, there comes an end to a very long day of hard competition. The Americans prove the most ingenious in the dark and win first prize. They fully exploited Stephanie's night vision expertise and the advantage of going last. Team Belgium came in second, and Canada, which without the penalty would have won the challenge, came in third. Team Australia, also penalised, came in fourth. To everyone's surprise, the South Africans finished last, which goes to show the UFC is not all about muscle. Overall, South Africa retains its commanding lead in the competition, with Team USA gaining ground in second place. Team Canada has jumped from last place to a tie for third with the Belgians, which leaves Australia in last place. They'll have their work cut out for them in the next challenge because the UFC is far from over.
This next challenge takes place on water. This is where we see who's the biggest powerhouse of them all.
If that's how they want to take a victory, then let them have it that way.
You'll be on the edge of your seat during the upcoming game on the Photonis Ultimate Forces Challenge.